It's 22, 29.
Okay. Okay. People, huh?
Yeah. Trying to open this page.
Do it. Yeah, I want to show anybody.
Alright. Shalom, Israel.
Shalom.
We are the I.S.U.P.K out of 1 West 124th Street, Hall, New York, under commanding GEN.YAHANNA. I'm Priest and Officer Yakad. This is Priest and Officer
Maikwa. Shalom.
Shalom. Alright, so today is our Sabbath service, and we're going to conduct the Sabbath service according to the scriptures as ordained to be, right? Exodus 20:8, where the Most High gave us the laws regarding to the Sabbath and how we should be able to function. Alright, and with that we say Matthew. Good. So.
La Yashala to Israel.
We say Matthew, upon your Dam, to the rising face the east.
We're going to begin with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanaw. Shabbat Shemayim. Wadash. Hayah. Shamka. Yahweh. Malabaka. Taba'a. Ratazaka. Hayah. Aisha. Baratiza. Kawa. Hayah. Bashemayim. Nathanaw. Lakam. Kal. Yawam. Masalaknaw. Kawawatnaw. Kasalaknaw. Kawawatnaw. Wala'a. Tabianaw. When say I want. Abal. Awashinaw. Mayan. Rai. Kaya. Laka. Malakwa. Wahala. Watakwarat. Wa'aywalamim. Aman.
We say now in English. Our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Yahweh, thy kingdom come. Thy will be done. In earth, as it is in heaven. Give us this day. Our daily bread. Forgive us our debts. As we forgive our debtors. Lead us not into temptation. Deliver us from evil. Thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it.
We're going to say the hakak, or the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Abakashah, Nathanaw, Hakak, Arafa'ah, Kalmaka'ala, Kalmadawo, Hakak, Lata'ah, Atamazariam, Hakak, Lahakoyam, Amatayam, Hakak, Irakawat, Atamayolam, Lagarashem, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Tuwadama.
We're going to say now in English. Yahweh, in the name of Yahushua, please give us the power. The power to heal. All manner of sickness. All manner of disease.
And all manner of
the power to cleanse the leper.
The power
to raise the dead.
The power to raise the
power against unclean spirits.
To
cast them out. In the name of Yahushua. Thank you. So be it.
We're going to say bless Israel in the Hebrew. Yahweh. Ba'ashem. Yahushai. Baraklanao. Wa'ashala. Wabayat. Sapariya. Barak. Rapa. Magan. Hagan. Ba'ashem. Yahushai. So Wadaman.
In English, it's Lord, in the name of Yahushua, bless us, and Israel, and the school, bless he, she, protect our loved one, name of Yahushua. Thank you, so be it.
We're going to say Psalm 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah, Ayanya, Al-Harayam, Mahayan, Yaba'ah, Isaiah, Imam, Yahweh, Aisha, Shamayam, Warataza, Ayatan, Lamawat, Ragalka, Al Yanawam, Shamarka, Hana, Yanawam, Wala'a, Yayashan, Shamawa, Yashala, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Aliyad, Yamyanka, Yawamam, Yashamash, La'ayakaka, Wayarak, Bayala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makarai, Yashama, Atnaspaka, Yahweh, Yashama, Tazahatka, Wabawaka, Mayata, Wa'id Iwalam.
We say now in the English, Psalm 121. I will lift up my eyes. Unto the hill. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord. Which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot. To be moved. He that keepeth thee. Will not slumber. Behold. He that keepeth Israel. Shall neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is a shade. Upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day. Nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee. From all evil. He shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out. And thy coming in. From this time forth. And even forevermore.
We're going to say Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayam. Al-Damayalaka. Al-Takarash. Al-Tashakwat. Al-Kayahanam. Awabayaka. Yahamayawan. Ra'ash. Al-Amaka. Ira Ya'amwa. Sawada. Wayata Wa'aitazawa. Tazapawanka. Amarwa. Lakawa. Wanakadayam. Magawya. Wala'a. Yazaka. Sham Yashala. Aiwada. Kaya. Na Aitazawa. Laba. Lakadwa. Ailyaka. Bariyat. Yakaratwa. Ahalia. Adawam. Washamai Alayhayam. Mawa'aba. Wahagarayam. Gabal. Aimawan. Aimalak. Palashat. Ain Yeshabia. Tazawo. Gamashawo. Nalawo. Aimam. Hayawa. Zarawai. Labanyalawat. Salah. Aisha Laham. Kamadian. Kasaya Sara'a. Kayabian. Wanakal. Kwayashwan. Nash Amadwa. Bayan the Ira. Wakazaba. Wakal Tazalmanai. Kal Nasayawamka. Asha. Amarwa. Nairasha. Lanawa. Atwa. Na'awa. Alahayam. Sayatamwa. Shayatamwa. Kagalgala.
Galgala.
Kagalgala. Kakwash.
Kakwash.
Lapanya Rawaka.
Lapanya Rawaka.
Kaash.
Kaash.
Taba Ira ya Ira.
Taba Ira ya Ira.
Wakalaba.
Wakalaba.
Kalahat.
Kalahat.
Arayam.
Arayam.
Kan Taradapma.
Kan Taradapma.
Basa Iraka.
Basa Iraka.
Wabasa Wapatka.
Wabasa Wapatka.
Tabahalam.
Tabahalam.
Mala'a.
Mala'a.
Panyaham.
Panyaham.
Kwalawan.
Kwalawan.
Waya Bakwashwa.
Waya Bakwashwa.
Shamka.
Shamka.
Yahawa.
Yahawa.
Yabashwa.
Yabashwa.
Waya Bahalwa.
Waya Bahalwa.
Ayaid.
Idea.
Waya Kaparwa.
Waya Kaparwa.
Waya Abalwa.
Waya Abalwa.
Waya Adaiwa.
Waya Adaiwa.
Kayata.
Kayata.
Shamka.
Shamka.
Yahawa.
Yahawa.
Labatka.
Labatka.
Aiwalan.
Aiwalan.
Al-Kaharatiza.
Al-Kaharatiza. We see here now in the English Psalm 83. Keep not silent to God.
Keep not silent to God.
And hold not thy peace.
And hold not thy peace.
And be not still,
and be not still.
For lo,
thy
enemies make it to mouth.
Thy enemies make it to mouth.
And they that hate thee.
And they that hate thee.
Have lifted up the head.
Have lifted up the head.
They have taken crafty counsel.
They have taken crafty counsel.
Against thy people.
Against thy people.
And consulted against thy hidden one.
And consulted against thy hidden one.
They have said.
They have said.
Come and let us cut them off.
Come and let us cut them off.
From being a nation.
From being a nation.
And the name of Israel.
And the name of Israel.
There be no more remembrance.
There be no more remembrance.
For they have consulted together.
For they have consulted together.
With one consent.
With one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against
the tabernacles of Edom.
The tabernacles of Edom.
And the Ishmaelites.
And the Ishmaelites.
Of Moab.
Of Moab.
And the Hagarene.
And the Hagarene.
And Gebal.
And Gebal.
And
Ammon.
Amalek.
And Amalek.
And the Philistines.
And the Philistines.
With the inhabitants of Tyre.
With the inhabitants of Tyre.
Ashur is also joined with them.
Also joined with them.
They are fourfold.
They are fourfold.
The children of blood.
The children of blood. Selah.
Do unto them.
Do unto them.
As unto the Midianites.
As unto the Midianites.
As to Sisera.
As to Sisera.
As to Jabin.
As to Jabin.
At the brook of Kison.
At the brook of Kison.
Which perished at Endor.
Which perished at Endor.
They became a dung for the earth.
They became a dung for the earth.
Make their nobles.
Make their nobles.
Like Oreb.
Like Oreb.
And like Zeb.
And like that. Yea.
All their princes.
All their princes.
As Zebah.
As Zebah.
And as Zalana.
And as Zaluna.
Who said, let us take to ourselves.
Let us take to ourselves.
The house of God.
The house of God.
In possession.
In possession.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Make them like a weed.
Make them like a weed.
As the stubble before the wind.
As the stubble before the wind.
As the fire burneth the wood.
As the fire burneth the wood.
As the flame set in the mountains on fire.
As the flame set in the mountains on fire.
So persecute them.
So persecute them.
With thy tempest.
With thy tempest.
And make them afraid.
And make them afraid.
With thy storm.
With thy storm.
Fill their faces.
Fill their faces.
With shade.
With shade.
That they may seek thy name.
That they may seek thy name.
O Lord.
O Lord.
Let them be confounded.
Let them be confounded.
And troubled forever.
And troubled forever.
Yea. Let them be put to shame.
Let them be put to shame.
And perish.
And perish.
That men may know.
That men may know.
That thou. Whose name alone is Yahweh.
Whose name alone is Yahweh.
And the Most High.
And the Most High.
Over all the earth.
Over all the earth.
Sir? Shabia, which means to sip. So today we'll continue the reading from the book of Exodus, chapter 22, and verse 28, Salakia 29.
Come. Okay. The book of Exodus, chapter 22 and verse 29 in the Hebrew. Kaya ta'aiwa, lasha, raka, la taza, anaka, waba aita, Yahweh, Salakia, Yasha, Yahweh, Aisha, Aishawa, Bayawam, Hasha, Mayana, Tanawa, Laha, La'a. Verse 30. Wa'a, Nashaya, Quadash, Taha, Nawan, Laya, Wabasha, Bashadaha, Tarapa, La'a, Ta'a, Kalawa. The book of Exodus, chapter 23, and verse 1. La'a, Tasha, Shamai, Mawa'a, Allah, Tasha, Tashat, Wadaka, Aim, Rashai, Laha, Yatha, Aid, Hamasa. Verse 2. La'a, Tahaya, Aka, Raya, Rabayam, Lara, Aitha, Wala, Ta'aina, Ail, Rabah, Lana, Lanatha, Aka, Raya, Rabayam, Lahata, Wadala, La'a, Taha, Dara, Bara, Yaba, verse 4. Kaya, Tapa, Ga'ai, Shawa, Aya, Baka, Awa, Kamarwa, Ta'aiha, Asha, Yabayan, Lawa. Verse 5. Kaya, Tara, Kamawa, Shana, Aka, Rabba, Taza, Taka, Washa, Awa, Waka, Dalahat, Ma'aiba, Lawa, Aizab, Aimawa, at the end of verse 5.
5.
Yeah. The book.
Verse 4.
Verse 5. At the end of verse 5.
Okay, cool. I think it's verse 3.
From 29.
29. Okay, cool.
Good?
So yes, it's supposed to be 4. You open it.
Come on, come.
This one. It's a 29
to
verse 5. 23 and 5. Okay, 7. That's 7. Okay, then the 5 will be
10 and
29.
30 and 40.
Oh, 29 and 30?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, yeah, cool.
Right?
Yeah.
Come, got it.
Yeah. I have to see one banana.
Yeah. The book of Exodus, chapter 22 and verse 29 in the English. Thou shalt not delay to offer the first of thy ripe fruits and of thy liquors, the firstborn of thy sons thou shalt give unto me. Verse 30. Likewise shalt thou do with thine oxen and with thy sheep. 7 days it shall be with his dam, and on the 8th day thou shalt give it me. Verse 31. And ye shall be holy men unto me, neither shall ye eat any flesh that is torn of beasts in the field. Ye shall cast it to dogs. Verse 23. Exodus chapter 23 and verse 1. Thou shalt not raise a false report, put on thine hand with the wicked to be an unrighteous witness. Verse 2. Thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil, neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to wrestle judgment. Verse 3. Neither shalt thou countenance a poor man in his cause. Verse 4. If thou meet thine enemy's ox or his ass going astray, thou shalt surely bring it back to him again.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Huh? And Hebrew.
Okay, so it's still 7 in Hebrew, so. Alright, we can do that one.
And we want to do.
We do it.
Come. If thou, verse 5, if thou see the ass of him that hated thee lying under his burden, and wouldest forbear to help him, thou shalt surely help with him.
That's it?
Yeah.
So we're seeing once more in understanding this book called the Bible, these scriptures, every single thing that is written in this book is to deal with brotherhood. You understand? Which is synonymous as well to sisterhood. Because this is dealing how we relate to each other on a daily basis. How we relate to each other, whether it be livestock, whether it be whatever brother has. And it really it goes into deep to really let you understand that you can't just say, well, that is that man's business, even though it's his business. You must always be able to see the interests, the welfare, the well-being of your brother. Because like in chapter 22, right, they said the Most High is showing you how you must be able to give back to the Most High. And really still, you giving back to the Most High through whatever offerings is not really, the Most High ain't coming down and eat it. You understand? This is for what? Still, your brothers who will use this now, sacrifice to the Most High, and they themselves will what? Get these items to use. Because the tribe of Levi had no inheritance in terms of land and property, etc. So all the stuff that was given through the sacrifices was for the provision as well for the Levites, for their livelihood. You understand? And even with that, it's given you, specific instructions on how we should live. Verse 31 says, right? And ye shall be holy men unto me. So this is something separate. Holy means to be what? It's Padash in Hebrew, to be separate. We're supposed to be apart from everybody else. And ye shall be holy men unto me. Neither shall ye eat that is torn of a beast in the field. Ye shall cast it to dogs. You understand? So you're going to see some sheep, goat, ox get killed by some beast. You understand? Some predator, or probably a batch of dogs or something. You can't just go and say, well, cut up that meat and go and eat and nah. Because why? We are a special people. And they say, well, ye shall cast it to dogs. And the mere fact that he's saying cast it to dogs, even in the same scriptures they talk about us having torn meat or meat that's been killed, and when you find it, we're not supposed to eat it, but we can sell that to what? We can sell that or give it to the other nations. So they are what? Considered what? Dogs as well. You understand? But we, the chosen people of the Most High, not supposed to eat these kind of things under these conditions. So I don't feel add anything.
Yeah, and so like I said, just to add to what you're saying, I'm very right to be saying, when they see the meat cast to dogs, you're right. I understand, because when the Most High tell you these carcasses that wild beast kill should be given to dogs, by you participating in it,
that's right,
means you put yourself in the category of a dog.
That's right.
And when you look at the other nations around us, understand? And you look at the spirit they carry, they pick up and eat anything. The Christian says tell you can eat anything. The Muslim must eat anything. You understand? And because now, right, and the Muslim must just say they have it a different way. They eating anything once it's halal. You understand where I'm from? Right? So you are halal a piece of dead meat and say no. You understand? You putting yourself in that position to be eating dead carcasses off the road,
diseases,
right? And all these strange diseases. You're behaving like an animal, you're behaving like a beast.
Right.
So the Most I will reprimand you as a dog, because you have no laws, no morality about it.
That's right.
And these will happen to these other nations. They have no type of morality about them. They do eat and sleep with anything. So no wonder they are called dogs in the scriptures. Right?
Yeah, man. Most High in Christ. I just want to add something, just even on chapter 23 in the beginning. This talk about, you really being righteous in the eyes of the Most High. Verse 1 says, thou shalt not raise a false report, and put not thy hand with the wicked to be on an unrighteous witness. This really goes into talebearing, because a false witness is a talebearer in the aspect of you're going to say something that is not true. You understand? A false witness, somebody who commits a lie against the truth. So you go and say, this brother steal this, but he really didn't. You understand? That's a lie against that brother. You understand? Or they said, thou shalt not follow a multitude to do evil, neither shalt thou speak in a cause to decline after many to wrest judgment. So you're not going to join no group to go and put your voice into anything that is against or false. You understand? According to what the scriptures have. So all these are things that we have to be able to understand, right? And to be able to be aware of how we conduct ourselves in this world. We are in this world, but not of the world. Right? So Most High in Christ. You get what I mean?
No, last. What page you?
Oh, that was chapter 22.
No.
Oh,
It's not.
yes, no.
I cannot jump over it.
1 second. 66.
Okay. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
The book of Exodus, chapter 23, and verse 6 in the Hebrew. La'ah Taha Masha Mashapat, Abba, Yanaka, Bara, Yabawa. Verse 7. Madaba, Shakwa, Tara, Kakwa, Wanakwaya, Wataza, Dayakwa, Allah, Taha, Raga, Kaya, La'a, Taza, Dayakwa, Rasha'ai, Washakad, Allah, Takwaka, Kaya, Hashakad, Wa, Pakwa, Kayam, Waya, Salak, Yawasak,
Salam.
Abba, Raya, Taza, Daya, Kwayam, Wagara, La'a, Tala, Kataza, Wa'atham, Yada, Aitam, Ata, Napa, Haga, Kaya, Garayam, Haya, Yatham, Ba'a, Rataza, Mataza, Rayam. Verse 10. Washasha, Shanayam, Tazarai, Atha, Aratazaka, Wa'a, Sapat, Atha, Tabawa, Atha. Verse 11. Waha, Shaba, Ya'aita, Tasha, Mata, Naha, Na, Tasha, Taha, Shata, Wa'a, Kalawa, Abba, Yanaya, Aimaka, Waya, Tarama, Ta'a, Kala, Kayata, Hashada, Kana, Ta'aisha, Laka, Ramaka, Lazaya, Taka. Verse 12. Shashak, Yam, Aisha ma Aisha yaka wa ba yama ma hasha gaya aya Aisha I.S.U.P.K lama aina yana waka wa shawa raka waka waka maraka waya napash bana ama kaka wahaga. That is the end of verse 6 to 5.
Yeah.
The book of Exodus chapter 23 and verse 6. Thou shalt not thou shalt not rest the judgment of the poor in his cause. Verse 7. Keep thee far from a false matter, and the innocent and the righteous slay thou not, for I will not justify the wicked. Verse 8. And thou shalt take no gift, for the gift blindeth the wise, and perverteth the words of the righteous. Verse 9. Also, thou shalt not oppress a stranger, for ye know the heart of a stranger, seeing ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. Verse 10. And 6 years thou shalt sow thy land, and shalt gather in the fruits thereof. Verse 11. But the 7th year thou shalt let it rest, and lie still, that the poor of thy people may eat, and what they leave the beasts of the field shall eat. In like manner thou shalt deal with thy vineyard and with thy oliveyard. Verse 12. 6 days thou shalt do thy work, and on the 7th day thou shalt rest. Thine ox and thine ass may rest, and the son of thine handmaid and the stranger may be refreshed.
Most in Christ. So you're seeing here again in the scriptures, all this is talking about what? Brotherhood. All this talking about, how we're supposed to live and conduct ourselves among each other. Right? Verse 6 says, thou shalt not rest the judgment of the poor in his cause. When I say rest, that means context of either pulling away something or, twisting something in its own cause. And we always see this, especially when it comes to poor blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, where when it comes to judgment, when it comes to matters that you're supposed to have proper judgment, it's always twisted in a way that we get what? The shitty and the stick, as we would put it. You understand? Whether it be in politics, whether it be in economics, no matter what it is, when it comes to us and our judgment, there's always something to come up against and steal away the little that we have. And our Christian pastors do the same thing. You understand? They distort and they twist so much so that what the poor, black, Hispanics, and Native Indians who go to these churches give away all these funds that they have. Sow a seed. This is your blessing. All kind of fancy stuff. And they rest away their little money and time that they have that they should be putting in the work of the Most High and spoil them, and then fill their minds with a lot of delusions that they can't function. And these are just some of the things that the scriptures continue to point out to us that is against brotherhood. Because this is what this is about. Because the man is already poor and he still want to take away what? His little judgment. You understand? The little ease he might get, he still want to take it away. Verse 7 says, keep far from a false matter. You know something is off, you know it wrong, you know this is not in the right spirit, stay away from that. Don't get yourself mixed up in them kind of thing. Because why? Problems at the end of the day. So I think you want to add anything.
Yeah, last.
And most in Christ.
Continue.
Yeah, we continue.
The book of Exodus, chapter 23 and verse 13. Wabakal, Asha, Ama, Taya, Allah, Alahayam, Tasha, Marawa, Washam, Allah, Alahayam, Aka, Rayam, La'a, Tazaka, Yarawa, La'a, Yasha, Yashamai, Ail, Payaka, verse 14, Shalam, Raga, Layam, Taka, Galaya, Bashana, verse 15, Ata, Gal, Shataza, Wata, Tasha, Tashama, Shabba, Aita, Yam, Ta'a, Kala, Mataza, Wata, Ka'a, Ka'asha, Tazawa, Yataka, Lama, Wa'id, Kadash, Ha'a, Bayab, Kaya, Bawa, Yataza, Mamataza, Rayam, Wala'a, Yara, Awa, Panaya, Rayakwam, verse 16, Wakaga, Hakwa, Taza, Yara, Baka, Waraya, Ma'ai, Sha, Yaka, Asha, Taza, Ra'ai, Basha, Daha, Bashaida, Waka, Asa, Bataza, Ata, Ashaina, Asa, Paka, Ata, Ma'ai, Shayaka, Mayan, Hashada, verse 17, Shalam,
Shalash.
Shalash, I mayam basha banasha bashana yara aha kal zaka wa raka Allah panaya ha'a dana Yahweh. Verse 18 la'a taza baka ail kamataza dam zaba kaya wala'a yalla yana kalaba kagaya aid bakwara. Verse 19 ra'a shayat baka waraya ada mataka taba ya'a bayat Yahweh Allah yaka la'a taba shala gadaya baka laba amawa. I didn't understand. The book of Exodus chapter 23 and verse 13. And in all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect, and make no mention of the name of other gods, neither let it be heard out of thy mouth. Verse 14. 3 times thou shalt keep a feast unto me in the year. Verse 15. Thou shalt keep the feast of unleavened bread. Thou shalt eat unleavened bread 7 days, as I command thee, in the time appointed of the month Abib. For in it thou camest out from Egypt, and none shall appear before me empty. Verse 16. And the feast of August, the feast of those fruits of thy labors, which thou hast sown in the field, and the feast of ingathering, which is in the end of the year, when thou gatherest in thy labors out of the field. Verse 17. 3 times in the year all thy males shall appear before the Most High Power. Verse 18. Thou shalt not offer blood of my sacrifice with leavened bread, neither shall the fat of my sacrifice remain until morning. 19. If the first of the fruits of thy land, the first of the fruits of thy land thou shalt bring into the house of the Most High thy power, thou shalt not seethe a kid in its mother's milk. Verse 20. So it's like 19.
And so once more, all these are rules and regulations that the Most High, through Moses, was laying down for the governance of the nation of Israel. And one thing in particular is verse 13, which says, and in all things that I have said unto you, be circumspect, which means to pay particular attention. All these things that mentioned here, pay very close attention to what is being said and what is being written down. Because all these things will be used not just for you to live right, but also for judgment. Because if you don't do certain things, there's a judgment to be had in what is taking place. I don't try to add anything.
Yeah, wow.
I'm not saying this.
Continue.
Yeah.
The book of Exodus, chapter 23 and verse 20. Hanaha Anna Kaya Shalaka Mala Aka Lapa Lapan Yaka Lasha Maraka Kada Raka Wala Haba Ya Aka Allah Hamakwawam Asha Haka Nataya. Verse 21. Asha Hashama Mapan Yawa Washa Washamai Bakwalwa Allah Sama Bawa Kaya La Yasha Lapash Lapash Aikam Kaya Shamya Bakwa Bawa. Verse 22. Kaya Ama Ma Wa'ai Tashamai Makwalwa Wa Ai no Wa Ai Yata Kal Asha Adaba Waka Wa'a Yabba Taya Ata Ayab Yaka Wataza Rataya Ra Ata Taza Rayaka. Verse 23. Kaya Yalaka Mala Kaya Lapan Yaka Waha Baya Raka Allah Ha'a Maraya Waha Kataya Waha Pa the Ya Waha Ya Waha Kanai Naha Haka Waya Waha Yaba Wasaya Waya Waha Kakad Tayawa. Verse 24. La'a Tasha Kakawa La'a Laha Yaham Wala Ta'ai Badam Wala Ta'aisha Kama Aisha Aishaham Kaya La Masa Harasa Ha Rasam Washaba Tashaba Wataza Bata Yaham. Verse 25. Wa'ai Badatam Atta Yahawa Allaha Yakam Waba Raka Atta Laka Maka Wa'ata Mayaka Waha Sarataya Maka La Makwa Baka. Verse 26. La'a Taha Yaha Masha Kala Aikwa Ba'aratazaka Ata Masapa Yama Yaka Ama La. The book of Exodus chapter 23 and verse 20. Behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way and to bring thee into the place which I have prepared. Verse 21. Beware of him and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in. Verse 22. But if thou shalt indeed obey his voice and do all that I speak, then will I be an enemy unto thine enemies and an adversary unto thy adversaries. Verse 23. For mine angel shall go before thee and bring thee into the Amorites, unto the Amorites and the Hittites and the Perizzites and the Canaanites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, and I will cut them off. Verse 24. Thou shalt not bow down to their gods, nor serve them, nor do after their works, but thou shalt utterly overthrow them, so like you overthrow them, and quite break down their images. Verse 25, and he shall serve the Lord your power, and he shall bless thy bread and thy water, and will take thy sickness away from the midst of thee. Verse 26, there shall nothing cast their young, nor be barren in thy land. The number of thy days I will fulfill.
Most High in Christ. So once more we're seeing where the Most High, is being very straightforward with the nation of Israel, letting them know exactly if you do this, if you keep your end of the bargain, the Most High will what? Continue and fulfill the promise that he made to their forefathers, from Abraham, Isaac, come right down to Jacob. And verse 20 says, behold, I send an angel before thee to keep thee in the way and to bring thee into the place where I prepared you. So on making their journey, when we talk about the pillar of smoke and the fire by night, set certain things, that set certain boundaries, that the angels of the Most High would guide the nation of Israel into the promised land. And when they reach there, all these nations that are before them is what angels going to prepare to destroy all of them as they're going forward. So all these are just instances where the Most High, laying that instruction, and he give them that instruction that if you do certain things, this is what will happen to you. If you don't do it, this is what will happen to you, and not to do as the other nations in those lands. So I feel that.
Yeah, and it's like just to add to it, we're saying even in when I go down to verse 24, right? The Most High is saying that we should never bow down to their gods, nor serve them.
That's right.
Right? And we only hear the first part, we shall not bow down to their gods. And many people still do adhere to it.
Yeah.
Right? But most people will say, well, I don't serve the other gods of the nation. Right? But in some shape, form, or fashion, it does serve the gods of the other nations, because when the Diwali come around, or
that's right,
or Mecca and all these things, right? You might be a part of it, but here we say all of these one, and Christian are the same, all of we serve the same God. That is not true. And then we don't serve the same God. That's why the Most High had to come and tell them at this point, not to bow down to any other God. You understand? So which means that the other gods of these other nations that we were never supposed to bow down to. That's right. Understand? And the Christian church had pushed the teaching that everybody should come together. But when you come together is when you begin, or you already start the process of bowing down to these other gods.
That's right.
Understand? So we were all supposed to remain holy and separate, right? Apart from the other nations. And also, when you go down lower in verse 24, right, they say, nor serve them and do after their works. You understand? So the things we see the other nations doing, the things they participate in, the holidays they celebrate, you understand? And all the customs they have, we were never supposed to participate in it.
That's right.
You understand? So some people say, well, I don't celebrate Diwali, you understand? But I would eat some parasite.
That's
you understand? Right. That kind of way. You understand? That is why it's all going on. You understand? Exactly. You understand? I don't eat the famous saying, I don't eat pork, but I will drink the sauce. Right. You understand? Right? These kind of things, the excuses people try to come up with. And the Most High said we should never participate, right? In anything of the other nations, right? Right? But we shall do utterly overthrow them, right, and quite break down their images. And that is what the I.S.U.P.K under command GEN.YAHANNA do. Right. You understand? We don't go out physically breaking down statues, but we utterly overthrow the thought and the mindset. That's right. That these hidden nations set upon our people, and the oppression that they continue to put upon our people. That's why we go out in the street to overthrow. I just had the scripture say that to overthrow them and to break down their images, all the images that are set up in the minds of the people. Why Jesus? That's right. And making them feel that they have to go to Mecca to serve this carved stone that the state for outer space. All them things is nonsense. Christmas. Understand? And Christmas and Easter and Valentine's Day, which recently passed, all these images are set up in the mind that they feel they have to live up to. That is what the Most High say we should break down these images, right? So I want to say that.
Most High Christmas. And what I say is so good, because all these things that Christianity continue to push and promote and say, well, I small thing. You understand? Mm-hmm. Christmas, I don't celebrate Christmas on them, but you have a Christmas tree. Mm-hmm. You have all the lights, you have the whole spirit of Christmas. What I say is not real. Mm-hmm. Celebrating Easter Santa Claus is fake, but you're still partaking in all these aspects. And that will call after their works. So no matter how you look at it, everything that you do, it is in support or in some way feeding these other nations in their image, in their gods, and whatever they do to support their gods. So don't bring no parasite for me. Don't bring no burifi. Don't bring no sawine and say, well, that's what. No, it's not no kumbaya. No, we don't do that here. In the I.S.U.P.K under commanding GEN.YAHANNA, that is your gods. And we want to get blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians out of serving the other nations. But that is what happens to us at the end of the day. All right, so Most High in Christ.
Continue, right?
Yeah.
The book of Exodus, chapter 23 and verse 27. Ata aya mataya sha laka lapan yaka yaha mataya ata kala aima asha taba baham wanata watan taya ata kala kal aya bayaka Allah yaka irapa. Verse 28. Washa laka taya ata ataza ra'ai lapan yaka wagasha ata haka waya ata yaka na ai naya wa ata hakataya mala panyaka. Verse 29. Laga shanawa mapanyaka bashanaha aka pan ha yaha ha arataza shamsha wara baha aila yaka kayata asha da. Verse 30. Ma'aita aga shanawa mapanyaka aid asha apa tapa wanaka Lata, Ata, Ha, Arataza. Verse 31. Washa, Taya, Ata, Gaba, Laka, Mayam, Sawak, Wa'id, Yama, Palla, Shatayo, Wama, Madba, Aid, Hana, Anaha, Waka, Atan, Baya, Kama, Ata, Yasha, Rataza, Waga, Tamawa, Mapanyaka, Kaka, Rata, Laham, Wala, Allah, Yaham, Bara, Yata, verse 33. La, Yasha, Bawa, Ba'a, Ratazaka, Pan, Yaka, Ta, Ya'awa, Ataka, Laya, Kaya, Ta'aibad, Ata, Allah, Ha, Yaham, Kaya, Yaha, Laka, Lamawa, Kwash, Lamawa Kwash. Right, the end of verse 33. The book of Exodus, chapter 23 and verse 27. I will send my fear before thee, and will destroy all the people of whom thou shalt come, and I will make all thine enemies turn their backs unto thee. Verse 28. And I will send hornets. I will send hornets before thee, which shall drive out the Hivites, Canaanites, and the Hittites from before thee. I will not drive them out from before thee in 1 year, lest the land became desolate, and the beasts of the field multiply against thee. By little and little I will drive them out from before thee, until thou be increased, and inherit the land. Verse 31. And I will send bounds from the Red Sea even unto the sea of Philistine, and from the desert unto the river. For I will deliver the inhabitants of the land into your hand, and thou shalt drive them out before thee. Verse 32. Thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. They shall not dwell in thy land, lest they make thee sin against thee. For if thou serve their gods, it will surely be a snare unto thee.
So once more, we're seeing And the Most High, and this is the layer to show that the Most High we serve is a real and living power. This is not no magic. It's not no, magic one waving. No bewitched. This is not no TV show where one scene you see and the next scene everybody conquer everything. It doesn't work like that. The Most High power is a real power, and you're seeing it just by the way that He lay out everything to the nation of Israel, and to show them how much He really and truly cared about the nation of Israel. Understand verse 27 says, "I will send my fear before thee." And sending that fear is what? The reputation of the Most High. You understand? Let them know that the God that these children of Israel serve is a righteous power, is a fearful power. And the scripture say, the Most High is what? The man of war. You understand? You see, I will send my fear before thee, and will destroy all the people to whom thou shalt come, and I will make thine enemies turn their backs unto thee. So when the Most High, is with the nation of Israel and they win their battles in the name of the Most High, what? The fear of that name will go towards the enemy. They'll say, here, what? See them fellas there? Don't touch them fellas. Because why? God that they serve. You understand? I can't remember there's a story where I think it was a Moabite king was given the advice to say, here, what? If you're going to attack the nation of Israel, if they're serving their God, and you attack them, you will lose. If they're not serving the Most High, then, you understand, they can attack them, and they will be defeated. So these nations understand, you understand, that if we serve in our Most High power, they will fail. But if we're not serving the Most High power, the Most High will what? Be against us and not them. And this is what the other nations know about us. That's why they want to keep us in with drugs. That's why there's black and black crime. That's why there's abortion. Because what? We are continuing to sin against the Most High. And this is what other nations do. And that's one more thing I want to bring up is that verse 3 says, little by little and little I will drive them out before thee, until thou be increased and inherit the land. You understand? So it's showing you how the Most High, really is really taking care of the nation of Israel. And verse 29 before says, I will not drive them out before thee in 1 year. So he allowed the heathen to stay to what? To preserve the land. And here's the reason why. He said, lest the land become desolate and the beasts of the field multiply against thee. So he used the heathen to what? Preserve the land, maintain it, keep it nice. And when the Most High gave us the opportunity to take over the land, it was already what? Prepared. It's still, it's clean, the houses are built, the vineyards are there. That is the kind of power that we have. That is the kind of level of care that He has for us. Not that He's driving them out and everything go back in forest and the other go back and cut and clean. The mere fact that He takes that kind of precision in dealing with the nation of Israel shows you that it's only a separate people that He is dealing with. Right?
This is the book of Exodus, chapter 24, and verse 1 in the Hebrew.
So what could be that? Yeah.
Wa Allah Masha Asha Ilaha Allah Yahweh Ata Wa'ahana Nadab Wa'aba Yaha Wa'a Washabayel Maza Panya Yasha Allah Wahasha Taka Wayatam. Makar, verse 2. Wana, Gasha, Masha, Laba, Dawa, Allah, Yahweh, Waham, Wahama, Allah, Magda, Shawa, Waha, Aima, La'a, Ya'ai, Lawa, Ai, Mawa, verse 3. Waya, Wayaba, Masha, Waya, Sapa, La'aima, Ata, Kala, Dabaraya, Yahweh, Wa Ata, Kala, Hamasha, Patayon, Waya, Aina, Kala, Ha'aima, Pawala, Akad, Waya, Amma, Rawa, Kala, Hadab, Rayam, Asha, Daba, Yahweh, Aisha, verse 4. Waya, Kataba, Masha, Ata, Kala, Daba, Raya, Yahweh, Waya, Shakam, Bakwa, Wayaban, Wayabana, Mazabaka, Taka, Ahara, Washa, Tayam, Aisha, Raha, Aishara, Matazabia, Lasha, Nayam, Aisha, Wabataya, Yasharala, verse 5. Waya, Shelah, Waya, Shalaka, Ata, Na'ai Raya, Banaya, Yasharala, Waya, Ailawa, Ailata, Waya, Zabakawa, Zaba, Kayam, Shalamayam, Laya, Hawa, Payam, verse 6. Waya, Paka, Masha, Atazaya, Adam, Wayasham, Gaba, Gatan, Wakatazaha, Badam, Iraka, Aila, Hamai, Baka, 07, Wa Ya, Paka, Sapa, Haba, Rayata, Waya, Para, Baal, Zanaya, Ha'aima, Waya, Amma, Rawa, Kala, Asha, Daba, Yahweh, Aisha, Wana, Shammai. At the end of the 7. The book of Exodus chapter 24 and verse 1. And he said unto Moses, Come up unto the Most High, thou and Aaron, Nadab and Abihu, and 70 of the elders of Israel, and worship ye afar off. Verse 2. And Moses alone shall come near unto the Most High, but shall not come nigh, neither shall the people go up with him. Verse 3. And Moses came and told the people all the words the Most High and all of the Most High, and the judgments, and all the people answered with one voice and said, All the words which the Lord had said we will do. Verse 4. And Moses wrote all the words of the Lord, and rose up early in the morning, and builded an altar, and under the hill, and 12 pillars according to the 12 tribes of Israel. Verse 5. And he sent young men of the children of Israel, which offered burnt offerings and sacrifices, peace offerings of oxen unto the Most High. Verse 6. And Moses took half of the blood and put it in basins, and half of the blood he sprinkled on the altar. Verse 7. And he took the book of the covenant and read in the audience of the people, and they said, All that the Lord had said we will do, and be obedient.
Most High in Christ. So once more you see the Most High has given Moses the instructions, and one thing that is real particular that a lot of people think is that Moses got the 10 commandments, and that was all that he got. Christianity, most times they don't understand that it was more than just 10 commandments. The 10 commandments were just like a summarization of all the laws. So if they say thou shalt not steal, that thou shalt not steal so covers, coveting somebody else's property, whether it be directly taking it or trying some other means to get it. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not say what are gods. All these are different things that are covered in a broad aspect within the 10 commandments. Love the neighbor as yourself. All these are things that are within the 10 commandments. But the law, I should say, within that whole 10 commandments is what broken down. And if you look at verse 7 says, you see, and he took the book of the covenant. So this wasn't just 10 things written down. This was an entire book written. You understand that the Most High gave Moses as what rules, as laws, statutes, and judgments to be used to govern the nation of Israel. Because this was a government being set up for the nation of Israel to govern themselves and the way they should deal with the heathen around them and with matters that come up amongst each other. So I don't feel that anything.
Yeah. Yeah, and just to add a bit to what you're saying, right? And even when you watch in verse 2, it says, and Moses alone shall come near the Lord, but they shall not come nigh, neither shall the people go up with him, right? And when it was verse 1, right, it had Aaron, right, who was the head priest, because Aaron was the lineage at the time of the priesthood, and all the other elders went up, but Moses is the one who dealt with the Most High, right? So the Most High appoint men on the earth, right, to do and give His law upon the face of the earth. Understand? So, but the Most High just doesn't appoint anybody, right? These men were men of the nation of Israel, men of the lineage of Isaac, Abraham, and Jacob, right? And they were not lawless people.
That's right.
And understand, living anyhow they want. And understand where I'm from? Or eating what they feel like. That's why the Most High gave them laws, statutes, and commandments to follow and to keep. You understand? And when they're going down, right? When you're going down here, and as I was rightfully saying, the book of the covenant, right? The Most High gave them an entire book, right? Of laws, statutes, and judgments. You understand? So these were this is how they should live with one another, right? Laws the Most High gave them to function on the face of the earth, and also how to dwell with one another, with brotherhood, and how to solve problems that they may encounter on the face of the earth. You understand? When we read early up in the passage, when it's coming down in the previous Sabbath, understand? And when the Most High reached the 10th commandment, the people became extremely afraid, right, of the glory and power of the Most High. Understand? So they tell Moses, you go and then come back and tell us what the Most High say. Understand where I'm from? All right. So and as rightly saying, that is why the people would only come and hear about the 10 commandments. But on the tablet of stone that Moses went up to get from the Most High had laws, statutes, judgments, right? And this was Israel's entire constitution, how a nation should be built. Understand? So, as the officer rightfully pointed out, understand, Officer Yokar, it was just not 10 commandments alone, right? Yeah, that is good.
That's interesting. Okay. It's supposed to be the last one.
This one?
Yeah.
Okay. So continue, right?
Yeah.
Come back. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 24 and verse 8. Waya Kwaka Masha Ata Hadam Waya Zarakwa Aila Aima Waya Ama Hana Hanadam Haba Rayata Asha Karata Yahweh Makam Aila Kala Ada Bayom Ha'ala. Verse 9. Waya Aila Masha Wa'a Hamana Ada Wa'a Baha Salakia Wa'a Baya Hawa Washa Ba'ayam Mazakwa Naya Yashala. Verse 10. Waya Ra'awa Atta Allah Haya Yasharala Yatakata Raga Layawa Kama, Aisha, Laba, Labana, Hasa, Yara, Waka, Tazama, Hasha, Mayam, Lata, Hara was 11. Wa'ala, Taza, Ataza, Lelaya, Banaya, Yasharala, Allah, Shalaka, Yadawa, Kazawa, Ata, Allah, Hayam, Aka, Lawa, Shatawa, was 12. Amma, Yahweh, La'a, or Allah, Masha, Ailaha, Ailaya, Hahara, Yahweh, Shama, Wa'ata, Na, Laka, Ata, Lakata, Aban, Waha, Tawa, Waha, Matazawa, Asha, Kata, Bataya, Laha, Waratam, was 13. Wayakwam, Masha, Hawa, Shai, Yahweh Shai, Masha, Ratawa, Aila, Masha, La'a, Hama, Lahayam, Allah was 14. Mazakwa Yam, Amma, Shabawa, Lanawa, Bazaha, Aid, Asha, Nashawaba, Allah, Yakam, Yahanna, Aha, Rana, Waka, Wara, Aimakam, Maya, La, the Ba, Rayam, Yagasha, La'a, Lagaham was 15.
Yes.
14?
Yeah.
the book of Exodus chapter 8, chapter 24 and verse 8. Right. The book of Exodus chapter 24 and verse 8.
Yes, I want to see.
All right. And Moses took the blood and sprinkled it on the people and said, Behold, the blood of the covenant which the Lord had made with you concerning all these words. Then went up Moses and Aaron, Nadab, Abihu, and 70 of the elders, verse 10. And when they saw the Most High of Israel, and there was under his feet, as it were, and when they saw the power of Israel, and there was under his feet paved work of sapphire stone, as it were, the body of heaven in his. Verse 11. And upon the nobles of the children of Israel he laid not his hand. Also they saw power, and did eat and drink. Verse 12. And the Lord said unto Moses, Come up to me into the mount, and be there, and I will give thee tables of stone, and a law, and commandments, which I have written, that thou mayest teach them. Verse 13. And Moses rose up, and his minister Joshua, and Moses went up into the mount of the Most High. Verse 14, and he said unto the elders, Tarry ye here for us, until we come again unto you. And behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. If any man have any matters to do, let him come unto him.
Yeah, because you've seen here where Moses' instructions, bring these elders up, the elders of the nation of Israel, and to accompany him. But they only went so far. And Moses was the one who really went direct, basically, to the Most High. And even when you read verse 10, they say, and they saw the God of Israel, and there was under his feet, as it were, a paved work of sapphire stone, and as it were the body of heaven in his clearness. So this, given like the description as best as they could, something like glass, something that, when the Most High power rests on that mountain, wherever was surrounding that area, it was clear. You understand? A sapphire stone. Sapphire is a kind of crystal. You understand? So all these is, what they're trying to give a description of the power of the Most High. When Moses left them there and going up, to speak with the Most High. And they have any issues, you have Aaron and these men here that would be able to handle any issue that come up amongst themselves there, whilst Moses was dealing with the Most High. So this wasn't like something like the movies, they go for 1 hour, and you just you get a phone call and you take a hour phone call and that was it. No, I sure these men tarried there for days. You understand? And having been able to function and do what they're supposed to do until Moses came back and gave them whatever instruction that the Most High gave them. So they feel like
that's the add to what you're saying, right? And which is so rightly true. And when you look at at verse 12, right? It says, and the Lord said unto Moses, Come up to me in the mount, and I'll be there, and I'll give thee tables of stone, right? And a law and commandments which I have written, that thou mayest teach them. Understand? And Moses was given the laws, right, to teach the nation of Israel, right? And he was the man appointed by the Most High to do so, right? So nobody could disagree with that, right? That is the man who the Most High choose, right? Just like today in the IS, we are under commanding GEN.YAHANNA. That is the man the Most High choose to lead the nation of Israel, right? And we say it say what he gave them, what he gave them a law and commandments.
That's right.
You understand where I'm from? And that is what the Christians should fail to see. You understand? That fly over the head. You understand? So it wasn't just as officer your card was bringing out earlier, just not 10 commandments. You understand where I'm from? He gave them other laws and statutes and judgments and things to follow. Right? And also if you watch when they go up onto the mountain, they had what? Order.
That's
You understand? Everybody wasn't doing what they want. You understand? And trampling over one another. You understand where I'm from? It say, and Moses rose up with his minister Joshua. You understand? Right? That's how the Most High say he sent them out in tools. Right? Joshua was the man to be with Moses all the time.
That's
And understand? He was the man appointed to him, like I would say, like a armor bearer.
That's right.
Right? But he was the man appointed to be with Moses. And he watched, and then he said to the elders, "Ye hear for us until we come again, and behold, Aaron and Hur are with you. If any man have any matters to do, let him come to do them." Understand? And even what's it have proper order set up.
That's right.
Understand? So if I had any issue, anything come up with anybody else, now they could go to these men, right? To seek out whatever counsel or judgment they would need. Just like in the I.S.U.P.K under command in GEN.YAHANNA. Generals, they have officers, you have captains.
That's right.
Right? All the way down to officers, straight down to troopers. You understand? They have perfect order, so nothing wasn't out of the way. You understand where I'm from? And there was and this does eliminate confusion. You understand? Unlike the Christian church, one man shoots you on the left and say something, and the next man shoots you on the right. And by the time you go around and come back, there's something totally different, and then you have total confusion in an organization.
That's right.
Right? But in the Most High has no confusion. Right? That's basically so what?
And with that brings us to the end of the service. I imagine.
La Yasharala to Israel.
So imagine upon your dams to rise and face the east. So
we're going to begin with the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abanawa, Sabashmaya, Wadash, Haya, Sabka, Yahweh, Malapaka, Taba'a, Ratazaka, Haya, Aisha, Barataza, Kawa, Haya, Washamaya, Natandanawa, Lakom, Ka, Yawam, Wasalaknam, Kawatnam, Kasalaknam, Kawatnam, Wala'a, Tabianawa, Wanseawan, Abal, Awshina, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Amalakwa, Wahala, Wataparat, Iwalamin, Aman.
So say in English, our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name.
Hallowed be thy name.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy kingdom come.
Thy will be done.
Thy will be done.
In earth as it is in heaven.
As it is in heaven.
Give us this day.
Give us this day
our daily bread.
Our daily bread.
And forgive us.
And forgive us
our debts.
As
we forgive.
Our
debtors. And lead us not.
And lead us not
into temptation. Deliver us.
But deliver us
from evil.
For
thine is the kingdom.
And
the power.
And the glory. Forever.
So be it.
We're going to say the hakak or the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Babukashah, Natandanawa, Hakak, Narabah, Kalmakar, Kalmano, Hakak, Lataha, Hatamazarian, Hakak, Lahakoyam, Amatayam, Hakak, Irakawat, Atamayala, Lagarashan, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Tuwalaman.
We don't say in English. is Yahweh. In the name of Yahushua, please give us the power.
Give us the power.
The power to heal.
The power to heal.
All manner of sickness. All manner of disease. The power to cleanse the lepers. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. Cast them out. In the name of Yahushua. Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it. Yahweh. You're going to see the blessed Israel in the Hebrew. Yahweh. Ba'ashem. Yahushai. Barak Lenawa. Vayashala. Ahabayah. Saparium. Barak. Rapah. Magan. Hagan. Ba'ashem. Yahushai. So what am I?
We're going to say here now in English is Lord. In the name of Yahushua, bless us and Israel and the school. Bless, heal, shield, protect our loved ones. In the name of Yahushua. Thank you.
We thank you. So be it. You're going to say Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Ashar, Ayanya, Al-Harayam, Mayan, Yabaa, Isaiah, Imam, Yahweh, Aisha, Shamayam, Barataza, Ayatan, Namawat, Ragalka, Al Yanawam, Shamarka, Hanala, Yanawam, Ala'a, Yayashan, Shamawa, Yashara, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Ayan, Yamyanka, Yawamam, Ashamash, La'a Yakaka, Vayarak, Vayala, Yahweh, Yashamarka, Makalrai, Yashama, At Nashpaka, Yahweh, Yashama Tazahatka, Wabawaka, Ma'aita, Waid,
Iwalam. We're going to say now in English, Psalm 121. I will lift up my eyes unto the hills. From whence cometh my help? My help cometh from the Lord. Which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved. He that keepeth thee will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Israel will neither slumber nor sleep. The Lord is thy keeper. The Lord is the shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day, nor the moon by night. The Lord shall preserve thee from all evil. The Lord shall preserve thy soul. The Lord shall preserve thy going out. And thy coming in. From this time forth. Even forevermore.
We're going to see Psalm 83 in the Hebrew. Alahayim. Al Demayalaka. Al Takarash. Al Tashakwat. Al Kayana. Awabayaka. Yahamayawan. Ra'ash. Al Aimaka. Yaira Yamwa. Sawada. Wayata Aitazawa. Aitazapawanka. Amarwa. Lakawa. Wanaka Kadayam. Magawia. Wala'a Yazaka. Shamia Shara. Aiwada. Kaya. Na Aitazawa. Laba. Yakarwa. Ayaka. Maria. Yakaratwa. Ahalia. Adawam. Washamai. Alayam. Mawa'aba. Wagariam. Gabal. Wa'aimawan. Wa'aimalak. Halashat. Ain Yashabia. Tazawo. Gamashawo. Nalawo. Aimam. Hayawa. Darawai. Labanya Lawat. Salah. Aisha Laham. Kamadian. Kasaya Sara'a. Kayabian. Banakal. Kwayashwan. Nashamarwa. Ba'ayan the Ira. Ayawa. Daman. La Adama. Shayatamwa. Nadayab Mawa. Ka'ira. Ashar. Amarwa. Nayarasha,
Nayarasha,
Lanawa,
Lanawa,
Naatwa,
Naatwa,
Alahaya,
Alahaya,
Shayatamwa,
Shayatamwa,
Kagalgala,
Galgal,
Kakwash, Lapanya, Rawakwa,
Lapanya Rawaka,
Kaash, Taba Ira ya Ira, Wakalahaba, Talahat,
Arayam,
Kantaradakma, Basa Iraka,
Wabasa Wapatka,
Tabahala, Ma'ala, Mala'a, Panyaham,
Palawan,
Wayabakwashwa, Shamka,
Yahawa,
Wabashwa, Wayabahalwa, Ayaid, Aidiyai, Waya Kaparwa, Waya Abalwa, Waya Adaiwa, Kayata, Shamka, Yahawa, Labadka, Aiwalan, Ailkaha Aratasa.
We're going to say Psalm 83 in English. Is keep not thou silent, O God.
Keep not silent, O God.
And hold not thy peace.
And hold not thy peace.
And be not still, O God.
Be not still.
For lo, thy enemies make it tomorrow. And they that hate thee have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people. And consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites of Moab, and the Hagarim, Gebal, Ammon, Amalek, and the Philistines, the inhabitants of Tyre, Ashur is also joined with them. They are called the children of Lot, Selah, do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to the Sirah, as to Jabin, at the brook of Kesil, who perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their nobles like Horeb and like Zeb. Yea, all their princes as the Ba and as Zalmunna. Who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of God in possession. Oh my God, make them like a weed, as a stubble before the wind, as a fire burneth wood, as a flame set in the mountains on fire. So persecute them with thy tempest, and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame, that they may seek thy name. O Lord, let them be confounded and troubled forever. Yea, let them be put to shame and perish, that men may know that thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, are the Most High over all. Sir? Let's give one criticism salute. Imadam Shabbat, Imajam, Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh. Let's give sisters online a criticism salute. Imadam Shabbat, Imajam, Barak, Yahweh Hashem Yahweh. Class dismissed.